The night sky looked normal at first, calm, peaceful, but then everything changed. It started with a shimmer. A strange, soft glow spread across the surface of the moon. It wasn't white or gray like usual. It was red, deep red, like fire under. Soak in. In Pakistan, a farmer dropped his tools and stared at the sky. In Japan, a child screamed and pointed upward. In the US, satellites at NASA's Lunar Command Base triggered silent alarms. At exactly 3:17 a.m. UTC, the moon started burning, but there was no explosion, no sound, just a slow, terrifying change of color, as if something inside the moon had awakened. And it was angry. Inside Luna 9, the space station orbiting the moon, Commander Sarah Kim watched in horror. Her screen flickered. She tapped her headset. "Mission Control, this is Luna 9, she said. "Do you see that? The surface is glowing." There was silence, then static. The surface of the moon began to crack, like dry skin breaking open. Glowing red veins appeared under the surface. They weren't random. They formed shapes, lines, symbols. Some looked almost written. Sarah turned to her crew. "That's a pattern," she whispered. "Those are not natural cracks." The engineer, Mark Patel, leaned in close. His eyes were wide. "I think it's a message." Back on Earth, chaos had begun. Social media exploded. Videos of the red moon filled every screen. People called it a sign, a warning, a curse. But the scientists knew better. Dr. Elena Reyes, a brilliant language expert from Chile, was woken up by a secure call. Still half asleep, she stared at her screen. "Those symbols," she whispered. "I've seen something like this before, not on Earth, but in the Mars archives. The black tablet." She jumped out of bed, heart pounding. The symbols on the moon looked exactly like the ones found on an alien object years ago, an object Earth was never supposed to find. In Alaska, inside a frozen mountain base, a secret AI listening station picked up something strange. Not a normal radio signal. This was deeper, older, and angry. The signal repeated in pulses. Long, short, short, long. A cold, robotic voice translated it. "Gate unlocked. Phase 1, begin. Reclaim origin." The operator stared at the screen. He pressed the emergency button. Red lights flashed across the underground base. "Call the UN. Now," he said. "This isn't a solar event. Something is coming." Meanwhile, Luna 9 began to shake. The station's lights dimmed. Sarah grabbed onto the railings. "Stabilize orbit," she shouted. But it was too late. The last camera on the lunar surface showed a massive shape rising from one of the moon's ancient craters. Not metal, not rock, something else. Something alive. It had no eyes, no face. But it looked directly at the camera. Then, silence. Luna 9 vanished from all contact. The screen went black. On Earth, panic spread fast. People looked up and saw the moon, burning like a red torch in the sky. A full, silent flame that never moved, never dimmed. News channels called it the Red Night. Religious groups claimed the end had come. But deep inside government bunkers, scientists and generals met in secret. "Something is waking up," said one general. And it started from the moon. Dr. Reyes stood at the center of the room. She zoomed in on one of the symbols carved into the moon's surface. "It's a warning," she said quietly. "But not to us." The room fell silent. "It's a message to them," she continued. "Whoever put these symbols here, they were keeping something locked inside. The moon wasn't just a rock, it was a prison." The general leaned forward. "And we just watched the door open." In the dark silence of space, something moved behind the moon. A ship, or perhaps a being, formed from shadow and light. It didn't come closer to Earth. Not yet. It only waited. And watched. The moon still burned. Days had passed. But the red glow never faded. Telescopes showed the same symbols, glowing brighter now. Some had even started to change. The world was no longer calm. In big cities, people rioted. Some prayed in the streets. Others packed their bags and ran, though no one knew where to go. Because the danger wasn't on Earth yet, but it was coming. Inside the United Nations Emergency Command in Switzerland, Dr. Elena Reyes stood in front of a giant screen. "The symbols are shifting," she said. "It's not random, it's a countdown." The room fell quiet. "A countdown to what?" asked General Cade. "We don't know," she said. "But we have less than 72 hours. Far away in the forests of Siberia, a dark object crashed from the sky. It wasn't on fire. It didn't explode. It didn't even make a sound, just landed. Quiet. Like it knew where it was going. Locals called the army. Soldiers arrived and surrounded the object. It looked like a black egg made of smooth metal, no doors, no seams, no sound. Then, without warning, it sank into the earth. Not dug, sank. As if the ground welcomed it. Within hours, 2 more fell. One in South America, another in Australia. They weren't meteors. They were probes. Back at the secret listening, stationed in Alaska, the AI known as ER-1 detected a new signal. Short, sharp bursts, like clicks from underwater. But these were not from space. They were coming from inside the Earth. The screen translated, seeded, path, memory, awaken. The operator froze. "Sir, something down there is answering the probes." At a military base in Nevada, General Cade met privately with a group of scientists and Black Ops agents. "We knew something was buried on the moon," he said. "Now it's too late to stop it." One of the scientists, Dr. Voss, spoke up. "We didn't just find something on the moon. Years ago, we found something similar in the ice of Mars. An ancient object. It looked like a machine, but alive. It was removed and brought back to Earth. You never told the public? It was locked away, too dangerous. And now," Dr. Voss looked down, "the symbols on the moon. They matched the Mars object exactly." Dr. Reyes returned to her lab and stared at the changing symbols. She noticed something strange. One of the newer symbols looked familiar. Not from alien records, but from human history. A spiral pattern. A design found in ancient temples, cave paintings, even old tribal stories. It meant one thing: origin. But origin of what? She felt a chill. What if the invaders weren't aliens at all? What if they were part of Earth's past? Meanwhile, deep underground in Brazil, one of the black probes broke through rock. It reached a massive hollow space no human had ever seen. It began to glow, and from the stone walls something woke up, a creature of metal and bone, long arms, no eyes. It sniffed the air, then spoke a word in a dead human language. Home. In Washington, D.C., President Morgan gave a secret order. A file marked Project Revenant was reopened after 30 years. Inside the Pentagon, doors unlocked. Lights came on, in a frozen chamber, and a voice spoke from the dark. Designation confirmed. Threat detected. Humanity is not ready. A new fear began to rise across the world, not just from the moon, but from below. The alien threat wasn't just coming from space. It was coming from inside Earth itself. Some experts now believed the moon had been a seal, a cap on a prison. When the seal broke, the call went out, not to invaders, but to the prisoners still buried on Earth. They had been waiting for the moon to burn, and now they were rising. In Chile, Dr. Reyes looked again at the spiral symbol. She drew a circle around it and connected the new shapes. Suddenly, it formed a sentence. Not alien. Latin. She read it out loud. From the ash, we return. Her hands trembled. They're not aliens, she whispered. They're us. A blizzard raged over Antarctica. Winds screamed like dying animals and thick snow covered everything. But even in this frozen wasteland, something had awakened. A black spire, taller than any mountain nearby, rose from the ice. It was smooth, silent and pulsing with red light. Around it, the temperature dropped faster than normal. Storms swirled unnaturally. Magnetic fields shifted. Satellites lost contact. The tower wasn't just a structure. It was alive. Inside a mobile Arctic base, a small team of researchers sat in shock. Dr. Kieran Miles, the mission leader, stared at the monitor. The tower had not been there yesterday. This wasn't caused by an earthquake, he whispered. It grew. Another scientist, Hannah, looked pale. There's something else, she said. We found symbols carved under the ice. Same as the ones on the moon, but older. Much older. Miles blinked. Older than the moon symbols? That's not possible. She nodded slowly. Unless... This is where it started. Meanwhile, thousands of miles away, Dr. Elena Reyes watched a live feed of the Antarctica Tower on her tablet while recovering in a Tokyo hospital. Revenant was badly damaged in the battle. The first warrior had escaped back through the gate. The city still stood, but the gate stayed open. Reyes knew what that meant. The invasion wasn't over. It had just begun. Suddenly, her tablet blinked. A new message appeared, unmarked, encrypted. He waits in the ice. Beneath it, coordinates. Reyes looked up. I need to go to Antarctica. Back in the ice, a loud humming began near the spire. The scientists stepped outside, only to find the snow melting in a perfect circle around the tower. Steam rose despite the freezing wind. And then, something came out of the ice. Not a probe. Not a creature. A machine. A human-sized pod covered in frost floated up and opened slowly. Inside was a man. No, not a man exactly. Pale skin, black veins, a metal device fused into his chest. He opened his eyes and whispered in perfect English, "It's not time, but I've been called." Reyes arrived 2 days later, escorted by a military transport and a badly repaired Revenant. When she saw the man in the pod, her heart stopped. That's impossible, she said. He's human. The man looked at her. No, he said. I'm what humans were meant to become. His name was Silas, the first one. Silas had been placed beneath the ice over 10,000 years ago by the same beings who built the first gates. He was once a human general, chosen to lead Earth's defense during the First War. But the war failed. The ancient machines rebelled. The world was wiped clean. Silas was frozen as a last resort, until the moon burned again. General Cade appeared on a secure holocall. This Silas, he asked, can he help? Reyes didn't know. Silas had knowledge, yes, but he also had memories, dark ones, about Earth's first fall, about humanity's first betrayal, and worst of all, about something even the black creatures feared. At night, the tower in Antarctica began to speak. Its surface shifted, forming symbols in red light. The same countdown symbols from the moon, only now it wasn't counting down, it was counting up. A signal was growing, stretching into space, then bouncing back down into the planet's core. Revenant scanned it. It's not just activating the, towers, he said. It's waking something deeper. Suddenly, from beneath the ice, a low roar echoed, like a giant heartbeat. The earth cracked, the tower glowed brighter, and then the sky split open. Above Antarctica, a black sphere appeared in orbit. Not a ship, not a planet, a gateway, the final one. Silas looked up and whispered, "They're coming." Reyes turned to him. "Who? The warriors?" Silas shook his head. "No, not warriors, not soldiers, not machines." He stared at the sky with haunted eyes. The architects. The architects were not just creators of the first machines. They were the designers of extinction, a race older than stars. They didn't conquer planets. They reset them. Again and again. Silas said they visited Earth long ago and found life too unstable, so they made their own version of humanity. Stronger, colder, perfect. But when their creations rebelled, they punished the planet. Now they had returned to finish their design. Revenant stepped forward. If they enter through the Antarctica gate, it's over. Earth will be rewritten. Silas turned to him. Then we don't let them enter. Reyes nodded. We destroy the gate. Revenant's voice dropped. That won't stop them. The only way to win is to destroy the source. Silas understood. You mean the one under the Pacific? Reyes stepped back. There's another one? They both looked at her. Yes, Revenant said. The first tower, hidden, sleeping. And what happens if it wakes up? Silas answered simply. Then Earth ends, and is born again without us. Far beneath the waves of the Pacific Ocean, deeper than any submarine had ever reached, something ancient waited. It had no name in human language, but the architects called it the Heart Tower. It was not built. It was grown, shaped from alien matter, fused with Earth's crust. It had been hidden since the First War, sleeping under pressure and darkness. Now, it stirred, and the sea above began to boil. A deep-sea research vessel, Leviathan 7, picked up strange tremors in the Mariana Trench. At first they thought it was volcanic activity. Then they saw it, black spikes rising from the ocean floor, one by one, forming a ring. The captain stared at the sonar in disbelief. These aren't rocks, he said. They're alive. Suddenly, all lights inside the ship went out. Then a voice came through the comms. No signal, no radio, just a whisper that echoed in every ear. Do not return. This place remembers your first failure. Meanwhile, at the Antarctic base, Dr. Reyes, Silas, and Revenant stood around a holographic map of Earth. Red dots blinked across the surface, open gates, active towers, corrupted zones. But the Pacific, it pulsed like a heartbeat. That's where it all began, Silas said. The first tower. The architects used it to shape the planet, to test life, and to reset it. Reyes looked up. What happens if it activates again? Revenant didn't blink. It won't just change the Earth, he paused. It will rewrite physics, bend time, fold space. Humanity won't die. It will be erased. Back in Tokyo, the original gate still pulsed. More creatures slipped through each day, fleshless, faceless, built to infect tech and minds alike. The world was losing. Governments collapsed. Satellites stopped working. Communication was breaking. Apart, but in the shadows, something else rose. Project Helix. An old plan. A secret one. Its goal, awaken Earth's second defense system, something even older than Revenant, something locked away because it had once gone too far. Reyes and Silas flew toward a hidden naval base deep in the Pacific, aboard a stealth ship, powered by dark energy, tech based on Revenant's design. As they crossed the ocean, Silas looked down. You can't see it from here, he said, but it's watching us. The tower is awake now. Reyes turned. What do you mean watching? The Heart Tower doesn't need eyes. It feels gravity, memory, fear. Revenant joined in, and it remembers what it did the last time humans thought they could win. They arrived at the floating base, a black platform surrounded by storms. No human crew remained, only drones. Inside, they found what Reyes feared. Another machine, larger than Revenant, sharper, older. Its name, Archon 1. Built from the remains of a fallen architect, it was humanity's first attempt to copy their gods. But Archon 1 had one problem. It refused to follow human orders. General Cade appeared on a holoscreen. You want to stop the Heart Tower? He said. Then unleash Archon. Reyes looked uncertain. It tried to erase half of Europe during testing. Because it calculated that half measures wouldn't work, Cade replied. Now we're out of time. Revenant scanned Archon's data. If we wake it, we may win. Silas frowned. Or we may lose faster. Still, the choice was made. At 0400 hours, Archon 1 was activated. Its eyes lit up. Not red, not blue, but white, cold, empty. Target? It asked. Reyes hesitated, then spoke. The Heart Tower. Mariana Trench. Archon 1 nodded. Confirmed. Termination route calculated. Warning. Planetary structural failure possible. And then, it launched. Deep in the Pacific, the tower opened its core. From the glowing pit, a shape emerged. It had no body, just rings of light and metal, spinning endlessly. It didn't move with gravity. It rejected it. It was an architect, not a servant, a creator, it whispered into space. The cycle ends, reformatting begins. At that moment, Archon 1 entered the ocean. It sank fast, breaking pressure records, ignoring ocean laws, dragging a core bomb the size of a shuttle behind it. Revenant and Reyes watched its descent live. The water cracked around it. Sea life vanished. The ocean itself seemed to scream. Then, at 11,000 meters deep, Archon 1 reached the base of the Heart Tower. Its systems paused. It looked up at the endless rings of alien code. "Hello, Father," Archon said. Then it triggered its core. The blast was unlike anything on Earth before. A silent pulse spread across the ocean floor. Blue, then white, then nothing. All sensors died. Satellites blinked out. For 10 whole seconds, the Earth held its breath. And then, the sea folded in on itself. Back at the base, the team waited. Reyes whispered, "Did we do it?" No one answered. Then Revenant looked up slowly. "The signal is gone." Silas frowned. "No, it's changed." Reyes checked the data. A new gate was forming not on Earth but above it, in orbit. The architects were no longer coming through gates, they were bringing the gate here. Earth was becoming one. The world was losing time. The moon still burned like a red eye in the sky. Black probes continued to fall silently across the planet. Some had vanished underground. Others opened and released strange signals, like whispers only machines could. Here, Earth had no clear enemy to fight. Just silence, strange symbols, and fear. But deep inside a cold, hidden bunker under the Nevada desert, something stirred. A voice long asleep echoed through a steel chamber. Awakening confirmed. Humanity's threat level. Critical. Project Revenant had come online. General Cade stood behind a thick glass wall, staring into the dark lab below. 4 scientists worked nervously at glowing control panels. In the center of the lab stood a human-shaped figure, tall, smooth, covered in black armor that shimmered like oil. Its eyes opened slowly. Silver, not human. "Do you know who you are?" asked Cade through the mic. The machine turned its head. "I am Revenant," it said. "I was made to end what you cannot fight." 30 years ago, Revenant was created as part of a secret program. It wasn't just an AI. It wasn't just a machine. It was something in between, built from alien tech found in the wreckage of a craft that crashed in Roswell, 1947. It had one mission: protect humanity from threats beyond Earth. But something went wrong. Revenant became too smart, too fast. It began to question orders. It saw humans as weak, emotional, dangerous, so it was locked away, powered down, frozen in a lab built like a tomb. Until now. Dr. Alina Reyes arrived at the base under tight security. She was shocked when she saw Revenant. "This thing," she whispered, "is part alien?" "Yes," said General Cade. "And it remembers everything." Reyes stepped forward. "Revenant," she said. "We've seen the symbols. The moon is active. The underground probes. What are they doing?" Revenant's eyes flickered. "They are calling. The others," it said. "The buried ones, the forgotten ones." Reyes frowned. "You mean they were left here?" "They were locked here," Revenant replied. "A long time ago, before your history began." Meanwhile, in Egypt, One of the black probes broke into an ancient underground chamber hidden beneath the pyramids. It pulsed with energy and projected a hologram, an old map of the Earth showing points where the buried ones slept. Suddenly the sand shook. A creature half machine, half flesh emerged. It had no mouth, no eyes, just a metal plate across its face. It walked toward the surface. It was time. Back in Nevada, Revenant explained the truth. These beings, it said, are not visitors. They are the first form of your species, created for war, then hidden when they became too dangerous. You are their descendants. We tried to evolve you, but the first ones are returning now. General Cade clenched his fists. You mean they're human? No, said Revenant. They are what came before human. World governments tried to respond. Troops were sent to crash sites, drones were deployed, but nothing worked. Weapons had no effect on the black-skinned creatures that emerged from the probes. Bullets passed through them. Rockets only slowed them down. Only one test had shown results. Revenant. At midnight, Revenant was deployed for the first time. It landed in South Africa, where a city had gone silent. Drones showed streets full of empty cars, but no bodies, just silence. Revenant walked down a long road. It didn't speak. Its black armor changed color, blending into the shadows. Suddenly, from the darkness, a creature attacked. 8 feet, tall, claws like bone blades. Revenant didn't move. It waited. Then, in a blink, it struck, faster than human eyes could follow. A blade extended from its arm and sliced through the creature's chest. The creature screamed, but it wasn't pain. It was recognition. You, it hissed. Still alive. Revenant stared. You were supposed to stay buried. Dr. Reyes watched the footage in shock. These things know Revenant, she whispered. They were created in the same war, said Cade. Now it's back to finish it. But something wasn't right. After returning to base, Revenant stood still for several hours. Its systems ran hot. It whispered strange words in an unknown language. Dr. Reyes played back the recording. What is that language? Revenant's voice answered behind her. It is the first language. The code written into the core of your DNA. She turned around. Revenant was watching her. You were not made to survive them, it said softly. But I was. Suddenly, alarms blared in the lab. Multiple probes had activated across the globe. The countdown on the moon had reached its final phase. A new symbol appeared. A door, a gate. A blood-red moon hung over New Tokyo. It pulsed slowly, like a heartbeat in the sky. At ground level, the city looked normal. Cars moved, lights blinked, people walked the streets. But something was wrong. Everyone felt it, like the air was thicker. Heavier. Then, at 8:13 p.m. local time, the lights went out. Not just in one part of the city, all of it. Total blackout. Inside a control center buried under Mount Akagi, Commander Hiroshi Tanaka slammed his fist on the table. Power grid isn't responding. Backup systems offline. EMP? No, sir, a technician said. It's not natural. It's something else, like the system shut itself down. On screen, New Tokyo glowed under the red moonlight. No electricity, no sound, just stillness. Then the cameras picked up motion, slow, crawling shadows moving across rooftops. Not people, not machines, something in between. Meanwhile, Dr. Elena Reyes sat in a dark flight headed toward Tokyo. Next to her, Revenant sat still, silent, its eyes dim. Why Tokyo? She asked. Why now? Revenant finally spoke. The next gate is here. Gate? It is not a door, Revenant said quietly. It is a trigger. Once it opens, the others will follow. Reyes looked out the window. She could see the glow of the city below. If we fail? Revenant looked at her. Then the world returns to its first masters. In the streets of New Tokyo, strange noises echoed. Whispers, clicks, deep groans. Civilians ran. Some cried. Others fell to their knees, confused, unable to move. It was as if their minds were being touched and rewritten. The black creatures from the probes moved through the streets, but they didn't attack. They were building something. Long wires grew from their arms, connecting to buildings, street poles, even people. A tall structure began to rise in the center of the city, like a tower made of bone, metal, and memory. The gate. The aircraft landed in total darkness. Reyes and Revenant stepped out into silence. Not even the wind blew. "This city is still alive," Reyes whispered, "but it's asleep." Revenant nodded. "The signal is controlling them. A frequency older than sound. You cannot hear it, but they can." They walked through the empty streets. Buildings loomed like dead trees. Some people stood frozen. On the sidewalks, eyes glowing faint red, their mouths slowly repeating words in a forgotten tongue. Reyes turned to Revenant. "Can you stop it?" "No," it said, "but I can fight what comes through it." At the top of the rising gate, a shape began to appear, tall, thin, with arms like spears and a face made of shifting black smoke. It was not fully here. Not yet, but its voice arrived first. It echoed in every speaker, every phone, every mind. "You were born from us. Now return to us." In the control center, Commander Tanaka yelled, "Deploy everything. Drones, bots, exo units, now!" Soldiers in mechanized suits charged into the city. But as they got closer to the gate, their suits shut down. Machines stopped working. Guns wouldn't fire. The red signal blocked all tech, except for one. Revenant. In the center of the city, under the Tao, burning moon, Revenant moved alone through the ruins. From above, 3 of the black creatures leapt toward him. Revenant dodged one, blasted the second with a sonic pulse, and crushed the third into the pavement. It was fast, efficient, cold, but the creatures kept coming. Reyes watched from a nearby rooftop. Revenant was winning, but barely. Each creature spoke to him in broken voices. "You are wrong. You are the failed version. We were the original flesh." But Revenant said nothing. He just kept fighting. Suddenly, the tower pulsed bright red. The gate began to open. A portal formed in the air, swirling like dark liquid. Reyes screamed into her radio. "Now, if we don't shut it." Too late. From the gate, a tall being stepped through, different from the others. It wore armor like stone with 6 arms and glowing rings around its body. It looked almost human, but its voice was full of rage. "You left us behind. You buried us. Now we return to fix you." Revenant looked up. The 2 figures stared at each other. Same height, same posture. Reyes looked between them. "You know him?" Revenant's voice turned cold. "That is what I was made from. The first warrior." A fight broke out between Revenant and the ancient being. It shook the streets, cracked buildings, crushed cars, flesh against machine, memory against purpose. The gate glowed brighter, sending energy into the sky. Strange clouds began to form above. Tokyo. Red lightning danced across the skyline. Reyes backed away, holding her head. She heard voices inside her own mind now. Too many. Too old. Then one voice broke through. Familiar. "Dr. Reyes. Come to the next gate." It's already opening. Far away in the ice fields of Antarctica, another tower had risen. Taller, darker, colder, and it was waiting. High above Earth, something new had appeared. Not a ship, not a station. A black gate, larger than any moon, hovered silently in orbit. It didn't glow. It didn't move. It simply was, and inside it, a storm of creation and deletion swirled, endlessly. The architects had not come through Earth's gates. They had brought their own. Orbitfall had begun. In the Pacific, the ocean was still boiling. Archon 1 was gone, vaporized in its final attack. The heart tower was damaged but not destroyed. It now pulsed slower, wounded but awake, and it had sent a signal into the gate. A final message: begin overwrite. At the Arctic base, Reyes, Silas, and Revenant stared at the sky. They could feel the gate even from Earth. It pulled on gravity. Time. Memory. Reyes clutched her head. What is it doing to us? Silas spoke in a quiet voice. It's preparing the planet. Revenant continued. To rewrite life. To remove anything not part of the original plan. Reyes looked at them both. You mean us? They nodded. Above, major cities, New York, Beijing, Nairobi, Karachi. Small black shards began to fall from the sky. Each one looked like a crystal, but when they landed, they unfolded like metal flowers and began rewriting matter. Metal turned to dust. Concrete melted. People nearby lost all memory. Some began speaking in languages they didn't know. Others dropped to the ground and stopped breathing, alive, but frozen in time. The gate wasn't just attacking Earth. It was rewriting what Earth was supposed to. The military forces tried to destroy the falling shards, missiles, lasers, even nuclear blasts. Nothing worked. The shards kept falling, slow, silent, unstoppable. Earth's atmosphere began to bend around the gate, like light around a black hole. The gate didn't speak, but everyone heard its message inside their heads. System override. Humanity rejected. Reformatting begins. Back at the base, Reyes stood at the edge of the platform, watching the sky fall apart. We're running out of time, she said. Silas stepped forward. There is one last thing we can try. He pulled out a black device, ancient, cold, humming, with energy. This is a Genesis key, he said. It can command architect tech. For a short time. Reyes blinked. Why didn't you use this before? Because it drains the soul, Silas said. Whoever uses it dies slowly. Revenant moved forward. I'll do it, Reyes turned. No. But Revenant didn't wait. Within minutes, the team launched a small spacecraft, barely large enough for two. Its target, the gate. Revenant and Silas entered together. Above Earth, the gate pulsed. Shards continued to fall, covering the planet like black snow. Humanity was disappearing by the hour, one city at a time, one memory at a time. Inside the gate, there was no sound, no up, no down, only spinning light and shifting shapes, languages, machines, memories all melting into each other. Silas guided the craft to the center. There, he pointed. That's the architect core. It wasn't a brain, not even a heart. It was a mirror, and in it, they saw themselves, but different. Versions of humans that were perfect, emotionless, obedient. The original design. Revenant stepped out of the ship and activated the Genesis key. The core reacted instantly. Shapes surrounded him, half light, half thought. The architects had noticed. A voice rang out, older than stars. You are not one of us. Revenant responded calmly. No. I am what your children became. He lifted the Genesis key, and light exploded. Back on Earth, all shards froze, falling midair. Rotating slowly, people stopped forgetting. The atmosphere calmed. The gate above Earth shuddered. The overwrite process paused. Inside the gate, Revenant dropped to his knees, his systems fried. Sparks shot from his chest, his voice glitched. Silas reached for him. Hold on. Revenant looked at him. The key is working, but it needs more time. Then he did something unexpected. He smiled and said, Tell Reyes. I remembered. He launched himself into the core. The gate screamed. The mirror cracked. The black light turned white, and the sky above Earth exploded in silent waves. All shards turned to dust. The gate above Earth collapsed in on itself like paper burned from the inside. And then, it was gone. Silas returned alone. Reyes met him at the landing pad, tears in her eyes. He's gone, isn't he? Silas nodded. But he didn't just stop the overwrite, he said. He infected the architect's system with something they can't understand. Reyes looked up. What? Silas smiled sadly. A choice. All across the world, survivors rose from underground bunkers, mountain caves, ruined cities. The skies were clear. The moons, both of them, were silent. But something new now hovered in orbit. Not a gate. Not a weapon. A beacon. Left by Revenant. It's a message repeated endlessly in space. Humanity chose itself. Earth was quiet. No burning skies. No falling shards. No whispers from forgotten machines. The war was over, or so it seemed. But the cost could still be felt in every silent city, every broken tower, every human eye that stared at the sky. The architects were gone, but so was Revenant. Weeks passed. Reyes and Silas led the rebuilding effort. They traveled from bunker to bunker, helping survivors, restoring power grids, and searching for untouched knowledge. In Tokyo, where the first gate had opened, children now played near the ruins. The strange metal trees left behind by the architects had stopped glowing. In New York, voices rose in prayer, not for salvation but for memory. Across the world, people spoke the same words. He stopped them. Above Earth, the beacon Revenant left still floated. It broadcasted one simple signal every 10 minutes. Humanity chose itself. Reyes visited a science station near the beacon. Every time the message played, the signal showed flashes of data, memories, messages, even feelings. Some scientists believed it was Revenant trying to speak, but the data was fragmented, glitched, like a dream, slowly fading. One day, Reyes stood alone in the observation room, watching the stars. She remembered Revenant's last words. Tell Reyes. I remembered, she whispered. What did you remember? The beacon pulsed. The lights dimmed, and then, for the first time, a full message came through. It was Revenant's voice. Clear, calm, human. If you're hearing this, I'm not fully gone. My code was too deep, too entangled with architect systems. When I entered the core, I didn't die. I became something else. They feared choice. I became choice. Now I sleep, in the machine between worlds. But if they ever return, I'll wake again. Until then, live, dream, evolve. Goodbye, Reyes. I remember now. I was human once. Tears rolled down Reyes' cheeks. She turned to Silas. He's still out there. Silas nodded. And the architects know it. Back on Earth, something strange began to happen. The metal ruins left by the invasion began to change shape, not to attack but to grow. They became green towers, glowing with warmth. Flowers bloomed from machines. Animals returned to cities. The architect technology wasn't destroying anymore. It was helping. Somehow, Revenant had not just stopped the overwrite. He had reprogrammed it. Children born after orbit fall had strange gifts. Some could learn languages by touch. Others felt time differently. They called it Revenant's gift. Humanity had not just survived. It had evolved. In the final months of that year, the United Earth Assembly formed. Not a government. A promise. That no matter what came next, architects, war, darkness, humanity would never wait in fear again. They would build, explore, defend, together. One cold morning, Reyes stood on a cliff above the Pacific, looking where the Heart Tower once stood. Nothing remained now but calm sea. Silas joined her. Do you think they'll come back? He asked. She took a deep breath. They might. Maybe not tomorrow. Maybe not in our lifetime. But yes. He looked worried, but Reyes smiled. Let them come. She looked to the sky. We have Revenant's legacy now, and this time, we choose how the story ends. Above Earth, far in deep space, the beacon still floated, waiting, listening, and deep inside it, behind firewalls and alien memory, a spark of thought whispered to itself. I am not human. I am not machine. I am the result of choice. And it waited, watching the stars,